Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Mortgage Coach Tuesday morning call. Every Tuesday morning, 9 o'clock Pacific, we're here to deliver ideas, inspiration, strategies to help you be more successful as a production team. So it's all about marketing. Hopefully everybody on this call has connected with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. You've downloaded our apps. You are our members and customers. So hopefully everybody's done that. Today we have Mr. Daniel Harkavy as our guest. Daniel, welcome to the call.
It is great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Good. Well, it's good to be with you, brother. Thank you for taking time to prepare for the call and to deliver the wisdom that you're going to deliver in just a couple minutes. So I'm going to provide a couple reminders, and then I'll bring you in formally in about 3 or 4 minutes, Daniel. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Good. Well, last week I was in Washington, D.C. I was there seeing a big customer of ours. I also spent some time with the Rick Edelman team. And for those of you who don't know, I have interviewed Rick a few times on calls. The last call that I interviewed him last year has been watched, I think, over 700 or 800 times. I mean, it was a fantastic call. I urge you to watch that. You know, it's called The Truth About Money with Rick Edelman, and he really walked through his concepts around, you know, why a big, long mortgage. So I think it is a must-watch call for mortgage coaches. But what I wanted to bring into today's call to kick things off was kind of one of my biggest takeaways. Again, Rick Edelman's company, he's got 900 employees, 120 financial planners and advisors. I mean, it's a serious operation. He is the biggest financial planning organization in the country. And on every single desk, they had these little double-sided, laminated documents saying, think compliance first. And I just couldn't help but think that this is where the puck is going in our industry. This is where life insurance industry is. This is where stock industry is. You got to think compliance first. And this is where our industry is going. And then the other takeaway is just the way they did it. You know, this was kind of a blown-up little piece on the back of it in a category called reminders, where it's just like, always put the client's interest first, keep confidential information confidential. I mean, kind of common sense, but, you know, we need to do a better job as leaders to deliver this. And I wanted to bring this compliance leadership to you today because I'm doing a call right after this with Mitch Kiter. And in preparation for this call with Mitch, you know, it really got me thinking about what compliance is. And we've actually been saying, you know, you've got to have a great compliance strategy. You know, what's your compliance strategy? And in preparation for this call, it's like we don't need a compliance strategy. We need a compliance transformed company. You know, it's bigger than a strategy. So I want everybody to be thinking about that when you listen to Daniel's message on leadership and the transformation that we need to make so that we can not only turn compliance changes into a competitive advantage, but we can really ready our company with something that's a big change, you know, especially with TRID coming, and we could do it in a way that we're actually more successful. We actually fund more loans. We actually fund loans faster. We improve our manufacturing of loans. This can all happen, but it really has to start with leadership. So I'm going to be doing a call with Mitch right after this call. If you're listening to this call and you have not signed up for that, you can sign up for it on our Facebook page. Again, this is not a weekly call. You do need to sign up for it. Hopefully you got an email, you know, looks like this saying, are you ready for TRID? If you didn't get this email, that means somehow your inbox is blocking us and we're not in your spam, or we're going into your spam filter. So if you're a Mortgage Coach member and you didn't get this invite, you know, make sure you take us, you approve us. Last thought before I bring Daniel in formally, I want to remind everybody that, you know, when we interview Mitch, we not only, I think, do great interviews where they're well prepared, lots of going back and forth with Mitch, but we're taking those questions and we're editing them into little sound bites. So right now, we've got a playlist called Compliance Quick Hits with 10 questions that we've asked Mitch in our past 2 webinars and exactly how he's answering. You know, I actually, last time we interviewed Mitch, my phone blew up afterwards with people saying, Dave, I want that answer on how Mitch answered the question about MSAs because I'm either trying to get out of an MSA or I'm trying to set better expectations, and I want them to hear that from Mitch. So I just want to remind Mortgage Coach members, we're bringing leadership to you to turn compliance into a competitive advantage, and we hope that you are taking leadership to your sales force and transforming your organizations, into compliance-first organizations. So, Daniel, welcome to the call, my friend. Have you managed to fix some of those things you had on your desktop, just so I can kind of know which way to zig or zag right now?
I think we're dialed, buddy. I am a technology Jedi. It's crazy what I just did. I have no idea how I did it, and I hope it works. I'm a neophyte, buddy, but give me control and let's see if we're showing what we need to be showing.
All right. Well, I'm gonna give you control in just 30 seconds. I do want to remind everybody, Daniel and his team was gracious enough during the holidays to be a guest on a call, and Daniel broke down his thoughts on life planning, and this was literally on December 30th. So, I mean, while he was on a family vacation, he came in and brought this leadership to the Mortgage Coach family. So make sure you watch this video if life planning is important. Today's call was really inspired by the time Daniel and I spent at Todd Duncan's Achieving Leadership Excellence event in Hawaii. And I took so many notes, and it was just a combination of reminders, ideas, and inspiration to be a better leader that I'm like, Daniel, please bring that content to Mortgage Coach. And so that's what we're going to do today. I do want to remind everybody, if you're on this call and you are not getting emails from Building Champions, I'm just telling you, you're blowing it. I mean, everything that Building Champions sends out as, kind of under the idea of marketing is just pure value. It's things that make you a better human being. It's things that make you a more successful mortgage professional. And this was one that came in my inbox yesterday, and it just reminded me that Building Champions, everything they do is just pure value. So make sure you connect with them. Also, we're going to do a push at the end for Daniel Harkavy's experience, our Building Champions experience. It's a team effort. I've been to this event, and talk about amazing personal leadership. Make sure you get the dates on your calendar. Make sure that you at least go to their website, go through, their experience and how they bring that to life online. I also want to bring the leadership to everybody on this call that when you look at what Building Champions does in terms of saying, hey, this is what we do, this is how we help people, and this is how we tell that story online, I think it's a bar raised for us as professionals. So kudos to the Building Champions team, and Daniel, I'm going to let you rock it out on 5 perspectives of leadership, kind of like a TED presentation style. And anything you want to say before you just start rocking it out?
No, I think that if any of you can alter your plans today, if you're not going to be listening to Dave and Mitch, I would strongly suggest you do it. Mitch has got just fantastic insights. He's always working with us at our CEO Roundtable and always adds a ton of value, and he is one of the biggest advocates for your industry. You're always wise to be listening to these guys, and I think that today's call is going to really prop up what you're talking about with regards to everybody's thinking and mindset towards the continual changes in this industry. So way to go, Dave, and thanks for all your very, very flattering compliments. I appreciate it.
Well, from the heart, and it is what it is. You guys are that good.
Right on, man. Thanks. So how am I showing up?
You are showing up perfectly. Let's rock.
Good. Very, very good. Well, it's great to be with you all. Dave, what time do you want me to finish up?
By 9:50, 9:45-ish, in between those two times.
Very cool. All right, great. Well, the topic today is, again, leadership. And it's a great morning for me. I get to be with all of you, and then in the hour after, I get to be with our Building Champions tribe, and we're going to be talking about leadership changes. It is an area of absolute passion for me. As many of you know, for the last 2 decades, I've had the real privilege of working with leaders not only in the mortgage banking industry, but in several industries. And the beauty of doing what I get to do is I learn so much from leaders that are just far more gifted than I am. I have had the privilege of working with guys and gals that are leading global firms, matrix organizations, publicly held, international boards, crazy partnerships, and in all of it, I'm just sitting there taking notes and learning, and I really, really believe that our thinking about leadership is an area for just about all of us to improve upon. So each and every one of you are leaders, you're influencers. And what I want to do is I want to walk you through just some thinking that I've got to help you to improve your leadership. And here's what I want you to write down first. Your leadership legacy, your leadership impact will be defined by two things: the decisions you make and the influence you have. And I want to unpack that before I start rocking on the 5 perspectives. The decisions you make, all right? You cannot be a brilliant, gifted, respected leader and make crap decisions. That's obvious. We all know that. And so often, we focus on our intellect, we focus on our knowledge and growing our knowledge so that we can make better decisions. But oftentimes, we're one or two-dimensional in how we gather information, and therefore, we don't make the best decisions because we're not fully seeing the business, the problem, or the opportunity the way that we should in order to make the best decisions. Day in and day out, all of the little decisions are going to impact your leadership legacy. The area that's harder for us to work on is our leadership influence. And that's because it's really birthed out of our personhood. Who we are impacts how we influence. How we think, what we believe, how we interact, all of that impacts the influence that we have. Many of you are students of leadership, and what I'm talking about is really level 5 leadership. It has to do with your personhood. And are you the same person after hours that you are during working hours? And that's what our teams are looking for. They're watching us, and they're looking for that integrity. Today's era, I'm talking about the millennials and all the younger folks that are coming in, you can be the most brilliant individual in the world, but if you lack integrity, and if you're not following up and following through, and if your actions are not in alignment with your words, your influence will not be what it could be, and you could be the smartest, most brilliant individual in the room, but you're going to lack the influence. So you will be a lonely manager who does not have the influence to be a brilliant, well-surrounded leader. And that's what I want to hammer on today. So I want to talk to you about the 5 perspectives of a leader. Years ago, I used to say great leaders need to have bifocal vision. I used to say you need to have one eye on current reality and the other eye on future state, but I really don't believe that's enough. So I'm adding to this, and I'm actually working on another book on this topic. And it's exciting for me to be learning as I'm kind of wrestling this through. Let me walk you through just a model, and I want to have you kind of go along with me here. How your thinking impacts every aspect of your leadership. When you see the August 1st changes, do you think, oh gosh, what a pain in the tail, not again. I have to retrain the team. I have to learn new systems. We're going to have all sorts of customer service challenges. This is going to be a pain. If that's your dominant thinking, the results are going to follow that thinking. And you're right. It is going to be an absolute nightmare. But if you're thinking about it differently, and that is, okay, this is an opportunity for me to grow and our organization to embrace this fully and early, and for us to be the Jedi Masters on the new regs so that we are the most proficient, and that's going to give us a competitive advantage. So we don't see this as something that we have to do. We see this as something that we get to do, and we're going to think about it differently. It's going to be an opportunity for us to outperform our competition. So everybody gather around, because we're going to be the absolute best at operating in the new world. If we think about it differently, then we start to communicate differently. We start to engage different tactics and strategies, and then we'll get different results. Your thinking about everything matters. And I think that in today's times, which is going to be my next conference call in just the hours ahead, I'm going to be talking about time to think, in my opinion, is probably the greatest casualty of all of our technology advances. I think leadership in the modern area where you have instant access and you have expected real-time correspondence. Email's too slow. If I'm not getting a response from you via email, then I'm going to text you because I need an answer now. And what's happening is we leaders don't have the time in these times to think and to really communicate and collaborate and to gather information and to ponder before we make decisions and respond like we used to. I'm not sitting here whining and complaining. I'm just stating this is a reality of leading in these times. So our thinking needs to be something that we are passionate about protecting, augmenting, and having discipline around, because our thinking impacts our beliefs. Okay, something's going on. I apologize with my screen here. Let's go. I can't communicate and do PowerPoint at the same time. There you go. Thinking and beliefs. Our beliefs are birthed out of our thinking. All right? So what we believe about people and about situations, our thinking and our beliefs together really impact our internal wiring and how we interact with people, how we approach problems, how we approach challenges, all birthed out of our thinking. Then what we believe about ourselves and about others and about our future starts to play in, and that starts to really impact our leadership influence, because our beliefs, our thinking together impact feelings. Now, some of you are going, oh my gosh, Harkavy, this is going to be a really soft call. I'm not going to camp here. What I'm talking about is how you feel to others and how you feel about certain situations. If I had more time, I would tell you countless stories of individuals who were the most brilliant. I'm talking about those that were the best educated, those that had decades of experience, and those that had the highest IQ. In leadership positions, in great organizations, but how they felt to others, how they do relationship, how they feel about others, curbed their future opportunities. Leadership's about the decisions you make and the influence you have, how you think about problems, how you think about people, what you believe about yourself, about why you're in the role and what's possible. It impacts how you feel about walking through the doors to your office each and every day, and it impacts how you feel to others, which then impacts your relationships. So your thinking impacts your beliefs, which impacts your feelings, which impacts your relationships. Leadership is all about your relationships when we're talking influence. The decisions you make, the influence you have, your thinking matters. So what you should be picking up on right now is that I'm saying that as leaders, we need to be really thinking about our thinking. Because as we think about our thinking, we start to impact our actions and ultimately the results that we get in business and in life. So how you're thinking about yourself and your role, how you're thinking about those that you're developing on your team, how you're thinking about changes coming your way, how you're thinking about all of these amazing opportunities that you're experiencing in the first 4 months of the year, what you believe is possible for you and your team, for you and your organization. It impacts how you feel. It impacts how you feel to others. It impacts your relationships, which is all about influence. It impacts the actions that you take. Are the actions that you're taking in alignment with your thinking and your beliefs? Because all of that together will determine what types of results you get in business and in life. So here's what I'm saying. I want you to listen to me as I go through the 5 perspectives. And I want you to assess your thinking and how you're thinking about each and every aspect of your business. If your leadership will be defined by the decisions you make and the influence you have, then I think you need to see your business from a more well-rounded position. I think you need to see it from more perspectives than you might naturally see it. So let's get into these perspectives. The first perspective is current reality. Do you see current reality? This is so important. This is so amazingly important. Don't miss this. there are so many leaders that are inspirational. They see the future. They're charismatic. They're inspirational. They're dreamers. They're creators. And they're always talking about the year 2020. But they don't have a good grasp of the business today. They don't have both feet firmly planted on the ground. And as a result of that, they make it very difficult for their teammates to follow them because their teammates say, she doesn't have a real grasp on reality. Yes, she's inspirational and she sees the future and she's always creating new programs and offerings, but does she see the trends? Does he see what's taking place right now? The best leaders, they have a very firm grasp of current reality. So let's talk about what they see, what perspective they have with current reality. They're measuring on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, depending upon cycle, depending upon time. They're measuring the financials. They're measuring pipeline. They're measuring trend. Current reality, they understand the legislative changes and the economic changes that are both opportunity and threat. They understand the competitive landscape. They understand who's leaving and who's entering. They understand what their offer is and what their pitch is. They are firmly rooted in current reality. They understand from a team's perspective how the team's thinking about the business, and I'm going to hammer on that one in a few minutes because I think that's a perspective on its own. But here's where I think we all have the greatest opportunity. When looking at current reality, do we see our business from our customer's perspective? Because if we don't see the business today from our customer's perspective, then we don't fully live in current reality. If you think that your business is humming along based upon customer satisfaction surveys done in 2014, that data is old data. You are not connected to current reality. Yes, you should be using some sort of an automated, systematized customer feedback loop so that you can be connected to current reality. But more importantly than that, as leaders, and I'm talking about you as production leaders, I'm talking to you about as top performing loan officers, you need to have a discipline of contacting clients that you have recently closed loans for and asking them a specific set of questions. And these questions don't change. And they can be really very simple. They can be something such as, on a scale from 1 to 5, 5 being exceeded expectations and 1 being an absolute train wreck, how would you rate our level of service? And then the next question, likelihood to recommend or refer. 5 being you're going to tell the world about us because we really helped you, and 1 being you're not going to tell anybody anything good about us. And then after you get those 2 ratings, you can just say, hey, what are the things that we need to keep doing, start doing, or stop doing in order to provide clients like you the best service possible? And if you were to just survey 5 or 10 clients in a month, not only would you be connected to current reality, but I guarantee you you'd be growing your referral business and increasing your production. So leaders, you need to have the perspective of current reality. It needs to be with discipline. It needs to be with rigor. You need to have the reports. You need to have the metrics that are important for you. You need to understand conversion rates. You need to understand where your business is coming from. You need to understand turn times. You need to understand approval and decline ratios. You need to understand all of that. You need to understand trends. You need to fully jump into legislative and economic changes, challenges, threats, and opportunities. You need to understand the competition. You need to understand how the business is from your team's perspective. And then you go above and beyond and you understand the business from the client's perspective. The next perspective.
Hey, Daniel, can I jump in real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Daniel?
Yeah.
Hey, so, when you talked about this, it really made me think. And, when we think of ourselves as loan officers, mortgage professionals, when you think of the C-suite, so often in the mortgage business, the loan officer is their number 1 customer. Again, we provide a loan for the family, for the borrower, but so often in the companies that we serve and the people that are on this call, if you're in the C-suite, your loan officer in often cases your number 1 customer. And let's face it, in many cases, our number 2 customer is a realtor. It's a referral partner. A great referral partner can give us 20 transactions a year, and an okay one can give us 5. And so I want to ask everybody on this call, when is the last time you really asked your realtor partners, what do you really think about the marketing that I send, about the messages that we do. You know, I did a call with Glenn Bill. He's a big realtor in Indiana. And it was, you know, the research I did up into that call, it was very interesting how much I learned about what realtors really think. And so I just want everybody, when Daniel put that push, talk to your customers. Well, I want to make sure it's an intentional conversation where you're really asking the right questions, you're really asking the right people, and you're there to learn and to actually stop doing some of the things that you're doing and start doing new things. Because so often I think people, they just, well, I talk to customers. Yeah, I really listen to them. But do you listen to it with the spirit that I'm going to stop something and I'm going to start something? So anyways, I just wanted to shout out on that one. I think it's an important point, and I want to make sure everybody on this call approaches that customer feedback with a different heart of curiosity so that you can get a real reality, because I do not think we always come to the real reality of what realtors really want and what families really want in the way that we sell and market to them. Go ahead, Danny.
It comes back to thinking, Dave. You're talking about loan officers who have the courage and they have the mindset that they're going to improve. They have not arrived. They think differently than do the majority of the loan officers in the industry. There's a few of you on the call that you are so hungry to learn and you know you haven't arrived, so you'll enter into those conversations with referral partners and you will say, please help me to improve the level of service I provide to you, the marketing that I provide for you, the overall experience you have with me and that your customers have with me, because I know I'm not a 10 and I think you deserve to have a 10, so help me to help you. And they sit there and they take notes and they don't defend and they don't make excuses, and then they go back and they work on the tactics or strategies that will enable them to take their service to different levels. There's some of you that are listening to me right now and you don't have the courage to sit down with your real referral partners and ask them those tough questions because you do not want to be critiqued. It starts to bring out some fear and insecurity in you. And you may not like me saying this. I'm not calling out any of you by name. I just understand, as a result of spending the last 2 decades doing what I do, working with people like you in all sorts of industries, that our wiring and how we think about ourselves will impede our ability to get that real data that enables top performers to continue to raise the bar. So what you have to be really comfortable with is this whole belief around your abilities. You have not arrived. Great leaders, top performers, they're humble. They want that input. They crave it instead of being threatened by it. And just understand you're a work in progress. You don't have it all figured out. We need really good people around us to give us that data, to help us to best assess so we understand current reality. And then we can make the best decisions moving forward. Perspective number 2, long-term vision. For those of you who have been with me over the years, you know I'm always a vision guy, because I think there are all sorts of leaders who believe that they're leaders, but without vision, they're really not leading anybody anywhere. It's a start and stop. Vision is the beginning of strategy. The best leaders can see something. They put a stake in the sand. They have courage. They think about it. They think about who their company's going to become, who their team's going to become, what it's going to be like for them to have a client interaction and a client experience in the year 2018. They think about their role and how their role will be different in 2018 than it is today. They think about their team and they start to daydream and they believe that they can align their team better than it is today so that they can take service levels up. How they're thinking and what they're believing about long-term, it continually is being fed and reinforced because they've written out their vision and they're reviewing it all the time, and that's impacting their thinking, their beliefs, and their feelings. It impacts the decisions they make. It impacts how they invest in their business. It impacts how they lead and develop others. And I know, again, there's some of you that are going, Harkavy, yes, this is exactly what I needed. Remind me, I need to take up my discipline up a notch with regards to reviewing my vision. I need to take up how I communicate my vision with my teammates. I need to take that up a notch. We need to be reminding our team all the time of where we're headed. If we're not telling our team what we see for the year 2020 and how the business is going to be different, then what they'll do is they will become micro-focused on today And all of a sudden, the problems and challenges of today will define how they feel about their business, and you will have created an environment where a whole bunch of people come to work and they've got jobs. Instead of creating an environment where a whole bunch of people come to work and they're serving together to create something really special and they're on a mission. And that's what you're after. But you've got to see something for the future. This is why your thinking and your belief matters. You know, I was talking to the head of business development here at Building Champions, just a sharp, high-performing dude that could walk into any industry and crush. The guy's an animal. We were talking about what makes top performers top performers. I believe that at some point in a top performer's life, they experience victory. They experienced mastery. It might have been on the baseball field. It might have been in academics. It might have been in their first job. It might have been in a musical performance where they just crushed it. In their younger years, they experienced what it was like to master something. And in that moment, something changed in their thinking and in their belief system. And they then carry that forward, and it impacts how they approach every aspect of business and life. What they do is they ask themselves this question when encountering a new challenge. They say, a big challenge, an opportunity to grow beyond our community here. Why not me? Why not me? When you've experienced mastery at some time in your past, the question of why not me, it's normal. And as a result of that, you take more risks because you're okay with failure. You embrace failure because you understand it's required in order for you to move forward. Long-term vision requires courage because what you're saying to your team today, right here, right now, you guys are funding more loans than quite possibly you've ever closed in the history of your career. And right now, what's required with long-term vision is for you to go out there and say, hey, folks, this ain't nothing. What we're going to be doing in 2018 or 2020, we're going to be serving 5 times the number of families. And we're going to be creating an experience that is much easier. And we're going to be creating an experience that not just gives people the confidence in their mortgage, the mortgage program mortgage program they choose, but we're going to be helping them in these other areas. This is how our team's going to function. This is how clients are going to engage with us. And it's aspirational. It's future-oriented, and it causes everybody to say, you know what, I want to be a part of that. So your long-term vision, number 1, does it inspire you? And number 2, is it clear? Because you need to build plans from it, which then brings me to the third perspective. You cannot have maximum influence and make the best decisions if you're not firmly rooted in current reality and if you're not living forward into your long-term vision. If you've got those things going, then you can make the strategic bets that are going to move you from current reality to that future state. If you're leading well and you're healthy in this, you're so firmly rooted in current reality, and you have such a clear and compelling vision for the future that you've created what I call an opportunity gap. We're here today in 2015. This is where I see us going in 2020, and there is a big chasm between where we're at and where I see us going. What strategic bets do we need to make over the next few years to close this opportunity gap and move our organization to that future vision state? You've got to be crystal clear on this. And I can tell you, leaders, this is an area where very few succeed. What we're talking about right now is execution. If your strategic bets, those 3 to 5 strategies that are going to be more than a 90-day project, these are big strategies. They have to do with overhauling your social media strategy. They have to do with creating a whole new marketing platform. They have to do with going after a whole new vertical or channel for referrals. It's going to take time. It's going to take patience. It's going to take strategy and rigor and discipline and follow-up and resourcing and accountability. If your strategic bets are not birthed out of where you see the business today in comparison to where you see it tomorrow, that long-term vision, 2020, if those strategic bets aren't birthed out of there, you will not execute well. Because what you'll do is you'll pull back whenever there is an economic change. If rates kick up 1%, you're not going to have the courage and the fuel required in order to carry forward with your strategic bets. because you're going to react to the crisis or the reality that you're facing in Q4 of 2015 instead of resourcing and moving forward on strategies that are going to cause your team and your organization to be different in 2018. There's a chance I'm losing some of you. There's a chance that some of you are going, Harkavy, I'm a loan officer. I've got one assistant and I work with a processing team. Don't tune me out. I want you, CEOs, all of you loan officers, CEOs, to understand who you are. This business, it attracts leaders. So many of the largest mortgage companies in America, so many of the largest ancillary companies that serve the mortgage banking industry that are flourishing were started by guys and gals that 20 years ago, they were loan officers. And maybe you're saying, well, that's not what I want. That's okay. I'm telling you that there's an opportunity for you to create something more dynamic, more powerful, more fulfilling, more rewarding, both personally and financially and psychologically, if you improve your leadership. So 5 perspectives of a leader. Do you see current reality? What do you need to be reviewing on a weekly basis or a monthly basis in order to be more firmly rooted? Long-term vision. Is it in writing? If it is, fantastic. Is it compelling and is it clear? If it's compelling and it's clear, then what's your discipline of reviewing it and of sharing it? Maybe there's an opportunity for you to improve there. If it's not in writing, you need to take a day and get it into writing. If you want help with that, email us, contact us. I'll give you a tool. It's so self-explanatory, very easy to read through, difficult to invest the day and finish. But courage required, man. You got to do it. Strategic bets, collaborate on those. Work with your teammates. Identify the problems. Identify the opportunities between current reality and future state, and work with your team to come up with a couple strategic bets that are going to really differentiate you from the competition in the years. Somebody's washing dishes, and Dave, I don't know how to stop that. That's not on my end. 4th perspective, your role.
Do you still hear it, Daniel? I don't hear it.
No, now it's gone. So current reality, long-term vision, strategic bets. The fourth perspective is your role. Your role needs to be crystal clear. What are going to be your high payoff activities that are going to enable you to be the leader that you see yourself becoming with your long-term vision? If you think that you can continue to repeat the same behaviors and the same disciplines in 2015 that you did in 2013, then what's going to happen is you are not challenging and stretching yourself to be the leader that's ahead of the team and that's ahead of your customers. This is where I spend all sorts of time with executives. My team spends all sorts of time with leaders and producers and consultants. What disciplines are you adding to your day and to your week that are going to enable you to get different results? Those disciplines, those improvements that are really the high payoff disciplines and improvements for you in your role, they need to stretch you. And you need to be adding to the very consistent core disciplines that have got you to where you are. You need to be adding to those the new disciplines that are going to enable you to increase your ability to make better decisions and have more influence so that you can be the leader that is worthy of the vision that you see for 2020. Now, I know who I'm speaking to. I just got done. There were about 80 of you folks with me and my team last week in New Mexico at the Masters Coach. And I know you guys are hammered. I mean, this is a crazy, beautiful time in mortgage banking, serving so many families. It's a great time, but it's also challenging. And right now, what your reality of is you're on the heels of your feet reacting to all of this business. The best of the best are approaching their days and their weeks with rigor, and they have time blocked for them to execute truly on their high payoff activities. One of our great clients from Alaska, he and I were out for a run last Thursday in New Mexico, and he was just sharing with me kind of what's going on with him. Here's a guy whose business has increased 3 times over the past year and a half, up 300%. Now, some of you are going, yeah, I'm there too. He used to work 80 hours a week. His team was with him there. and they all said, we work harder and smarter than we ever thought we could. We're in at 8:15 and we're out by 4 or 4:30. Now, how many of you want that? How? Crystal clear on the high payoff activities, crystal clear on the strategic investments and bets, bringing on the right resources, and sticking to a plan, a 90-day business plan that is crystal clear on your high payoff activities and the improvements that you're going to make. There's 3 to 5 non-negotiable disciplines, and if you would just do these things each and every day, each and every week, each and every month, and they were stretching you in your role, you would be the best leader you could be. The 5th perspective is the team. Every one of you, including myself, are vulnerable right here. In crazy times of growth, when we're crushing it, so often we can start to make decisions that cause us to lose influence. At the beginning of the call, I told you to write down your leadership legacy or story will be determined by 2 things, the decisions you make and the influence you have. When you are crazy busy and you're booking it hard, you'll start to make decisions without the perspective of the team. The 5th perspective you need to have in order to make the best decisions and have maximum influence is the perspective of the team. They're the ones doing the majority of the work. Do you see the business from their perspective? Do they understand from you where we're going and what's expected of them? Are they crystal clear on what victory looks like? Do they know what's expected role by role? In our Masters Coach last week, all sorts of teams sitting around this big room, and they were working on the solutions map that Coach Bill Hart walked them all through. And so many of them are saying, oh my gosh, our biggest problems right now are the consequences of us having sloppy role definement. We're not crystal clear on who's doing what and when we're supposed to be doing what. And high-performing teams, I mean top performers, hundreds of millions of bucks closed in a year. They saw their great opportunity to improve how they operate if they would just bring more clarity to who's doing what on the team. Maybe that's your opportunity. Maybe that's the perspective for you to improve upon. When I'm talking about the team, do you see the business, the work, day-to-day work from their perspective? Are they equipped with butter knives and being expected to go down and clear large forests? Or do they have the right tools? Do they have the best still saws? Do they have the best equipment? Are they able, from a technology perspective and from a tool perspective, to really flourish in their roles? So do you see the business from their perspective? March 19th, I'm in a leadership team meeting here at Building Champions, and one of my teammates, Shannon Mackey, awesome gal on our team. Overall, she runs operations. And she challenged me. She said, Daniel, I think that right now your problem is you're not asking us the right questions. So what she was saying is, Harkavy, you might not be making the best decisions, and in so doing, you're probably losing influence because you're not asking us the right questions. Great challenge for me. I've been working hard, running fast. I'm vulnerable. I don't have it all figured out. I'm a CEO as well as an executive coach. That sentence from her has challenged me for a month now. And yesterday, I brought it back to the entire leadership team. And I said every week we need to be thinking about the business from the team's perspective and not just thinking about it, but taking action on it. So I want us to come into our week, and I want us to be thinking about what are the decisions we're going to need to make this week, and what are the questions we're going to need to ask of who. Because we need more input, and we need more buy-in, and we need more collaborative engagement around decisions if we're going to be the company that I see us becoming. Does your team see the business from your perspective? Do they understand where we're going? That comes back to vision. That comes back to current reality. Do you see it from their perspective? Do you know what it's like to operate in their shoes? Are you developing them? Are you resourcing them? Are you equipping them for maximum success? Here's what I think. If you see the business from all 5 of these perspectives, current reality, long-term vision, strategic bets, your role, and the team, you see the business from each and every one of those perspectives, you're going to make the best decisions and you're going to have maximum influence. I'm confident of that. So let's quick review. I apologize. I had better slides for each and every one of those.
Let's just make sure we get, first of all, Daniel, you crushed it, as always. Let's make sure we get your contact information up there so that we can, anybody who wants to reach out, connect, they know where to reach out and connect.
Yeah, so one of the perspectives of leadership that I believe that I'm okay being mediocre in is trying to drive a computer and a PowerPoint while I'm talking to you folks. I'm not that good. So I'm just going to tell you how to contact me and our company. First off, info@buildingchampions.com. And I apologize that I don't have this together. info@buildingchampions.com. Our phone number, 503-670-1013. Follow us on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, all of that. DanielHarkavy.com is my website. BuildingChampions.com is ours. And
Daniel, it's a good thing that I can run the computer because everybody can see that contact information. I will make sure you get the last words. Just 1 minute for everybody. You know, I can't emphasize enough that if you really want to go deep, make sure you subscribe to everything that Daniel has on his contact information. The experience event that they do, the coaching that they do, not only makes better business people, it makes better people. Every time I listen to you, you know, it's kind of uncomfortable because I've always got to go, okay, I suck there and I'm bad there and
I'm sorry.
A reminder there. So, you know, a lot to work on. But thank you, Daniel. You know, again, I hope everybody on the call got value. Big thank you for Mr. Daniel Harkavy. As Daniel gets the last word, if you could let us know what you thought of today's call on a scale of good to wow. Was it good? You got some takeaways? Were you wowed with value? And if you're a guest on this call and you want to learn more about Mortgage Coach, you want a demo, click the last option. So Daniel, you get the last words as we wrap up today's call.
Great. Well, first off, Dave, thank you for having me. It's always a privilege, and I know how you value and love on all of your tribe, and I know that you take a risk when you give the opportunity for others to speak to them, so thanks for having the confidence in me and my team. I so appreciate it. The second thing is that I really do believe I know who I'm speaking to. I know who you attract. I know the caliber of professionals that are fully utilizing your technology, and I just want to say to each and every one of you, if you're at a scale on a scale of 1 to 10, if you're at a 8 or below with your level of mastery on what Dave and his team are providing for you, there's a huge opportunity for you to take the game up. I want to encourage you for each and every one of you to strive to be 10s out of 10s with all of Mortgage Coach technology and offerings. Dave told you that I was going to give you an opportunity to join us, me and my team, this September, and I just want you to write these dates down. September the 15th through the 18th is the experience up here in Central Oregon, out at Sun River, and I'm telling you, it could change your business and change your life. Yesterday I was in a meeting with my team. We were talking about the experience and, again, trying to improve our messaging on it. And it's easy for me to tell you what it's not. But more importantly than me telling you what it's not or what it is, what I want to tell you is that how you will leave. You will leave with confidence. You will leave with clarity. You will leave refreshed. You'll leave inspired. You will leave with plans in place that you can execute on to improve how you sell, how you lead, how you connect with teammates, as well as to improve as husbands and as wives and as parents and as people. And our belief is that who you are 24 hours a day impacts your influence and the decisions that you make. So lead well. I honestly believe each and every one of us have great opportunities ahead of us. Dave, thanks for having me.
All right. Hey, take care, everybody. Have a great week. And Daniel, I'm grateful for the leadership and the gift that you just brought to the Mortgage Coach community. Thank you, brother.
My pleasure, man. Thank you.